Yeah. What's up, guys? Happy Monday. It's just me, or is this light really bright? We're good? God dang, I'm white. Jesus. All right, let's put some warmer. Sorry, chat. No. All right, how about that? That's a little warmer. Whatever. It is what it is. What's up, Andy? What up, Spence? Hey, yo. Justin Sports J here. Big dumper. Mr. Riley. Half his home runs don't count because Coors. I don't know. Whatever. Woo. It's good to be back. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Good last week. We got a decent chunk of games today. Chop up. I forgot to check the weather. I am sore, trying to wake up. Some wrestling yesterday, so we got some caffeine going. Looks like we're good on the weather, but it has been really freaking hot. So a little foresight here. Big heat wave hitting the East Coast means game time temps pushing near 100 in Baltimore. Winds are almost dead calm, but all that heat is a boost of bats. Cool. Warm, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Chicago's been windy the last couple days, but looks like it's just hot. It's just hot. All right, cool. No rain, though. That's good. Shout out, no rain. We're going to go game by game here. Do a little research. I guess there's an early... Oh, that Orioles game was really not on this slate. So I didn't even type it up because it's on an island. We don't need to do it. Yeah, whatever. All right. Let's just start. I guess we'll just do the actual slate then. Yankees and the Reds. Yankees got a run total 5.3. Reds got a total 4.9. Putting the Yankees in one of the most home run friendly parks in baseball. 91 degrees out there in Cincy. Nick Lodolo on the bump. 21% K rate on the season. 4+ expected ERA. Does serve up homers to righties. Buck in the quarter. At least the last 2 years. I say at least the last 3 years. But not a high average. So does this season over 40% fly ball rate, about 30% hard contact rate, which is less than average. But yeah, in that park you can get punished. So Goldie has been somebody that we always see in the lineup against lefties. Judgy 1.2 OPS against lefties. And then historically, you like Giancarlo in that split. But surprisingly, in this Yankees lineup since the beginning of last year, the WRC plus is really not that high against lefties. It's just a 5.3 run total, giving Lodolo a little bit of respect and also maybe being cognitive of the Yankees' woes in the last couple weeks here. On the bump for the Yankees, I got Alan Winans. So let's do. All right. Do some research on Winans. Nothing at the major league level for the last 2 years. This season, 50 innings pitched, 59 Ks, 104 whip. I feel like when I click stats, some stats should show up, but it's not. Fresh. All right, let's go to Fangraphs. Am I bugging? Oh, it's 2 L's. There we go. 29% K rate. $89.90 on his fastball. So he's a very effective Kyle Hendricks, eh? Sinker, slider, changeup. Yeah, 89 on the fastball. Doesn't throw it that much. At least this is what Fangraphs defines. I know sometimes Baseball Savant will split it a little differently. And we've talked about it. Low velo doesn't necessarily mean he's getting beat up. And I guess he's not. He's been really, really effective. With a 79 mile an hour slider? Hey, man. Hey, man. A sinker, fastball tangle, which handedness for the batter? He goes, gotcha. Well, in any case, no big league sample the last couple of years. We always kind of lean towards the hitters. It is hot and it's a hitter's park no matter what. Oh, we did get some stats pulled up now, finally. Looking for home run problems. So, just one homer allowed this season. Is that real? Wow. Heavy ground ball rate. Not that heavy, but over a 1 home run to ground out, or ground out to air out ratio. A little bit of a walk thing going too, huh? 13 walks in 40 innings. What does that look like? Let's see. 45% ground ball rate. A 3.3 xFIP. Only a 6% walk rate. Last year he had a 3.52 home run per nine, so something's happened between did he play for the Braves last season, like at the major league level? Change up slider guy with a lot of swing and miss stuff on the speed in the minors. All right. Man. Five innings in at least 3 of his last 4. Last 2 years as a Brave, 8 stars. 8 stars? Why didn't I get nothing? Why didn't nothing populate for me? Allen. Oh, only okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so there's a minimum innings pitch for stats to pull. I thought you meant 8 starts last year. I was like, dang, you don't have. All right, so let's rank it out. Let's go Yankees. Obviously Reds. Man, pitching today. Schwellenbach, tough matchup. Brian Wu, okay. But it gets really ugly really quick. And Yankees have certainly been stagnant enough, and the Reds are kind of that it wouldn't be warm and fuzzy to click a no name against them, but it also wouldn't surprise me if at 7K, Winans presented a usable stat line. So I think I'm gonna go 4 corners here, as uncomfortable as it is. And let's see if we can't plant some K rates. I'm gonna go 23% K rate on Allen. Let's go 21 on Lodolo. Let's go 6%. Actually, yeah, that's right, 6% walk rate from this season. And then 5%. And probably just 15.5 on both outs, probably. Maybe Lodolo gets a little bit more respect. 16.5 and a little bit more. So I'm gonna go 15 and then 16 and a half. That's how we rank that one out. DK changed their info. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. Their game log looks different or something. I don't really use the game log. I don't actually see a difference, to be honest. I don't know what the difference is, but I saw some tweets about it. So maybe I don't have the update yet, or maybe it's a mobile thing. This looks pretty normal to me. But I have seen some... let me see. Maybe if I refresh it. Oh yeah, I just lost it. I refreshed it, so now it looks like this. This looks like their gambling one. All right, don't lock change. Honestly, though, I guess I would say from a. I would say this information, although like we're used to the aesthetic of the old one, it to show these stats, this is way more important to me than 10 game log, right? Especially OPS. Like if they just show OPS, that to me has more value than whether or not they hit in the last 5 games. But it definitely looks different. And they do have the game log. I don't really see the problem. I think the information here is much better. You get a 10 game split, season split, road splits. You get slugging, OBP, OPS, which I think is more valuable. You get a bigger, I don't know. Aesthetically, I guess it's different. But I think the information presented is more valuable. It's under stats. Let's scroll up. Yeah. I see what you're saying. But I did play the pick 6 game, and it looks a lot like the pick 6 stats. So I guess that's all they did was smooth from that. I'm gonna give this game, for the weather bump, I'm gonna give it a little bit of a weather bump. Don't have to be too crazy. Next game on the docket, Mets and the Braves. Braves have a 4.7 run total. Mets 4. Spencer Schwellenbach versus Paul Blackburn. 3.6 expected ERA for Schwellenbach, 24% K rate, 13.5% swing and strike rate. All that really good, really consistent with what we saw last year. And what's also consistent with last year is if you can get him, it's likely going to be with the lefty. And he's expanded his 106 home run per 9 last year lefties to 174. Although the batted ball data is really not, like, there's no big jump here. Matter of fact, the hard contact rate went down. The ground ball rate went up. Naturally, that means the fly ball rate went down. But he's just striking them out less. So if the Mets come out really lefty heavy like they projected with just 2 righties, could really, really exacerbate his split problem, and that's unfortunate for the slate, as he is the highest priced guy with the probably best overall stuff. But based on his weaknesses and the matchup, it certainly paints a picture of at least a range of outcome for him to fail. So I always say on slates where pitching sucks, even if the top price pitcher has a tough spot, I would still take him if I think he's a top raw point scorer. But I gotta be honest, man, this matchup's already a tough matchup, and he's not striking out lefties at a great clip. So unless the Mets surprise us with like 4 or 5 lefties, I think I gotta be very pessimistic here. I haven't looked at ownership, but I gotta assume Schmellenbach's gonna draw, 20+% just based on the player pool. So I'm gonna be a little trepidatious on that. Blackburn, 13% K rate for him, 169 on the whip. The expected ERA, this is an anomaly, I think. A 4.76 Sierra, 169 whip, just a 13% K rate. XFIP to both sides is over 4.5, but somehow just a 3.47 expected ERA, which is a 3-year season low, while his Sierra is on a 3-year season high, as is his actual ERA. Generating a lot of soft contact to righties. Ground ball rate to lefties is great. To righties, not so much, which has not really been normal for him the last couple of years, so we might expect that to come back up. His line drive rate is kind of creeped up, and it's at the expense of his ground ball rate. So maybe that comes up. Generally, that's what we expect him to be, a contact pitcher that could put the ball on the ground. But he has struggled with righties the last couple of years, and this Braves lineup, unlike the Mets, can come out half and half. And we know Ronald Acuna has just been really good since he's come back. Austin Riley and Marcelo Ozuna, since the beginning of last year, pretty positive WRC pluses with a lot of power. So I'm gonna go Braves, then Mets, and then Spencer Schwellenbach to dice that one up. I do think Schwellen, I don't know, is he just getting really unlucky with his home run to fly ball percentage? Because the batted ball data looks pretty similar, yeah. 20%. Last year, 10%. So I think there might be a little bit of unluckiness when it comes to the results, but he's still naturally going to struggle with lefties more based on his pedigree. What's been his strength of schedule for that to be such a jump? Mets, wait, what? Mets, Milwaukee, San Francisco, Red Sox, Let's go put a projection in. I'm gonna tax him a little bit on this projected. So 2 righties, 19% versus 29%. So I'm not gonna meet in the middle here. I think I'm gonna go 22% K rate instead of 24. And if the Mets come back with more righties, we'll go back and adjust as necessary. But I think I want to weigh the splits apropos. And then for Blackburn, I'll give him a 14% K rate. Is Blackburn, Jake, do you think just a lack of sample? Like, do we expect him for this ground ball rate to get back to normal? But even with the higher ground ball rate, like the last 2 years, he still allows. They basically have the same splits, just opposite hands. As far as power, the average allowed is kind of crazy. Let's finish projecting that out. Walk rate 4, 6.5. Let's go 18.5, 14.5. Man, 18.5 is such a high projection for Schwellenbach. I think this is a lot of name value stuff here. Out of curiosity, let me see. What does that give us on a strikeout projection? Gives me 6.3 still. And I guess the bottom half of this Mets lineup still strikes out. So is this line? If his line is 6.5, then it's fair. I'm sure it's 5.5. Man, Vegas doing their due diligence on that one. I feel like the outs might be a little high. just not Corbin. Yeah. The homers are still there though. So I'm gonna go Braves, Mets, Schwellenbach. I'm not gonna put Blackburn on the podium because even at his best, he's not somebody we expect with strikeouts. And I guess it's gonna come down to Schwellenbach, me versus the field on comfort there. Vegas knows. All right, Vegas has a pretty healthy out projection on him at 18.5, but heavy juice on the under, so it probably is gonna steam down a little bit. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and change that myself. I'm going 17.5. This is gonna move K's to 6, and I still don't love that, but there is some strikeouts definitely bottom of this lineup. That's why I saw they optioned Francisco Alvarez. I was like, he's finally hitting homers. He's like, yeah, go back down. Next game, D-backs and the White Sox. Chicago, a little bit of wind, but it looks like it's right to left, and it is still 90 degrees. We sure love our D-backs. Erod taking on Shane Smith. This is our matchup. Erod on the season, 3.8 expected ERA, 23% K rate, 7% barrel rate. High line drive rate stuff to righties. Elevated home run per 9 since the beginning of last year to righties. High average allowed to righties, 4+ xFIP. Really has kind of mirrored those stats to both sides of the plate. High average, high home run per 9. Throwing strikes efficiently. Facing a White Sox team that has 2 players in the projected with positive WRC pluses, and both of them are who's that, and includes a .078 ISO. So if you're getting to the White Sox here, you're clicking yesteryear name brand like god dang, there's very little ISO to speak of here. 4.3 run total, so a little bit of unstoppable force and movable object of suck, but not necessarily. I'll give Erod a little bit more credit than that. But the White Sox, it's a rough couple columns to look at. With what is Cuero's? You have a 935 OPS with a 078 ISO. What's going on here? That's a slug. Slugging 481. And we know ISO is just slugging minus average. So I guess batting 404. I don't think I've ever seen that, but I guess we'll see that come out in the wash. 52 at bats for that. All right, I gotta know. Guerrero. Is there something going on with the MLB site? It took a minute for the last guy to load too. I guess we'll come back. Obviously the D-backs were in there. 3.8 expected ERA for Shane Smith, 4.3 Sierra, overperforming those two metrics with his actual ERA. Home run per 9 is really respectable. Barrel rate under 6%. Swing and strike rate's at 12%, even though he's just got a 21% K rate. But he looks like he's got elevated walk rate that might be eating away at some of those counts that he's ahead in, and just not cashing in. Any which way we slice it, D-backs offense is one of the most fun offenses in baseball. Both bullpens bad. The D-backs a lot worse than the White Sox. But I think the talent on the D-backs is just too good. They've been without Corbin Carroll, who's listed as day-to-day. And from yesterday, Torey Loveo said that Carroll, who's out of the line for Sunday's game currently, will undergo an MRI in Chicago on Monday. So if he's getting it, he was available to pinch hit Saturday while his bruised left hand continued to show improvement. But D-backs will exercise caution. So obviously, Corbin Carroll represents a lot. He's one of the highest run value guys in the league. And the fact that they have just a 5 run total kind of makes me lean that everything's kind of leaning to him being out. And if you're a manager here for the D-backs, you probably think you can win this game without him. So if they are without Corbin Carroll again, it does make take some of the ceiling off the stack. But this is still a lot of really fun numbers to play with when you think about ISO and WRC plus. So we're still gonna go D-backs 1. E-Rod has a 355 BABIP. God dang. What I don't know, what's our expected stat saying? 231 expected batting average on his four-seamer. That's 60 points lower than his actual batting average. Looks like every pitch has a lower, outside of slider, every pitch has a lower XBA than BA. So yeah, cumulatively it does add up. Steers batting cleanup. I'm gonna go D-backs and I'm gonna go E-Rod. And unfortunately, like, man, I don't think the White Sox are out of the blender because I would say White Sox Substack. Just because the D-backs bullpen is pretty atrocious. See what's on deck here. And it's still just hot. Yesterday they went Taylor Scott, Kevin Ginkel. So I mean, if there is premier arms in that bullpen, which even their top guys, I mean, Shelby Miller is your closer. Even our top guys aren't like shut them down. But for what it's worth, the D-backs would have their best arms available if they needed to do that. Anthony DeSclafani is in the league? What? Dude, we have a bullpen that is Anthony DeSclafani and Shelby Miller in 2025. Holy. That's pretty funny. And as you might expect, a 10+ ERA for DeSclafani, a 6+ home run per 9. He only pitched 4.1 innings and didn't pitch last year, so. All right. All right, let's we'll grade it out that way. Let's put a projection here. Let's go 23% on Erod's K rate. Let's go 21.3 on Shane Smith. Desclafani, bro. What they used to call him, Disco. He wasn't Disco Stu, right? Was it Tony? Was it Disco? I don't know. No, Disco Stu was another Reds pitcher, wasn't it? Maybe you ended up. All right, now my brain hurts. Help me out. Disco Stu, pitcher, MLB. Tim Lincecum? I don't know about that one. I don't know. I feel like it was somebody else. He is Disco Stu. Okay. That's what I thought. Why was that? Why do I know that? Shane Smith, walk rate. Let's give it to him. 9.8. 16.5. Ouch, 15.5. What does that give me for Erod? I unfortunately feel like Erod's going to be a pitcher I target at a high clip today. So far, he's got the second highest. He's basically neck and neck with Schwellenbach. I gave Schwellenbach 3 towards the QS. I don't love that, but I got to respect the outs. So when you take the QS out of the equation, he's basically 1 point behind, maybe 2 points, 1.5 points behind Schwellenbach on a raw projection. So, man, I think Erod's going to be somebody we got to get to. The name of the 1930s potato chip company owned by Titus Tart. They don't make names like they used to, I'll tell you what. Titus Tart. That's just a good name. What's the potato chip company name? Is it? I don't even know. Brewers in the Pirates. 3.8 run total for the Pirates. Brewers 5. We got Braxton Ashcraft taking on Chad Patrick. 2 first names for Chatty. And possibly 2 last names for Braxton Ashcraft. 20% K rate for Ashcraft. A 3.45 expected ERA. 4.25 Sierra. A 1.54 actual ERA. All this on 11.2 innings. And a really mixed up, uncoordinated batted ball and results. So 0% barrel rate. He's the guy we're gonna want to load minor league numbers. Dude, something might be. All right, we're just gonna go off of Fangraphs today, I guess. Which is fine. Fangraphs has done a much better job of giving us minor league information for guys. So in the minors, a 5 ERA, 3.54 walk per 9, not what you want. So 8.7% walk rate, 25% K rate, 15% swing and strike rate, and that's something we've seen at really has been his average the last 2 years. So, just a quick overview of minor league stuff to major league stuff. Looks like we might expect this 20% K rate to climb progressively. The swing and strike rate, which is 9.6% on small sample when you transition to the majors, is actually not too bad. So that might catch up. Ooh. Let's go look at some pitches. Number 7 prospect. Yeah, Wednesday is gonna be sexy, right? Mizorowski and Skeens. Dude, there's more pitchers coming in the pop pipeline, man. You guys seen? Was it Chase Burns? It's gonna be impossible to hit a baseball really soon. If they could just figure out how to not get Tommy John. Let's see. .97 on this fastball. That's pretty gosh dang good for your average. 92 on a slider. That's old school DeGrom and Syndergaard, right? Sheesh. Whiff rate probably. This is where we're probably gonna find the swing and strike rate, right? From the minors to the majors coming up, and the curveball playing off of that velo is pretty nasty as well. If you can go from a 97 mile an hour fastball to an 83 mile an hour curveball, whew, Jesus. I like this pitch mix and these velos, bro. Changeup is 91. That's so stupid. It's so stupid. So I guess what I'm saying is I think Ashcraft has what I don't want to say what it takes, but he's got some fun stuff in that pitch mix that I think before long I think we'll start seeing the progression to being a solid pitcher, right? And does that mean try to cash in before the world kind of catches up to him? I think on a slate like this, yes. You like Chad Patrick's pitch mix better? All right, I'm sure Jake's trolling me. That's what we got. $87, $94, $93, $88. All right. My man presses one button on the controller, dude. Cutter, four-seamer, sinker. So, yeah, basically 70% of his pitches are some type of fastball, yeah. That's funny. Offensively, Brewers with a 5-run total. Gotta have a little respect for them. I'm maybe falling in love a little bit too much with the potential of Ashcraft's pitch mix. But if he can start pitching to his minor league card, it still includes a 5+ ERA and a walk problem. But man, that 15% swing and strike rate. Man, that 1 in 4K rate. I'm in there. Pretty decent at keeping the ball in the park. Ground ball rate, 50+% this season, 40+% for the last couple years. Over a 20% line drive rate. I think I'm gonna throw him in the blender. Obviously, I can't put him first. I think we go Brewers 1. The Pirates are real not good. But Chad Patrick doesn't strike a lot of confidence in me here. Might just be an average click. Man, 6K for this Ashcraft. Oh, dude, I'm about to get in trouble. What, yeah, I guess the pitch count's not anywhere where we can really play with it, but I'm falling in love with the future potential of Ashcraft's pitch mix. But we can't really use that here. So we're gonna go Brewers, and that also kind of tips us off on this becoming more of a bullpen game. 4+ ERA for the Pirates bullpen, which is not the worst, but it's certainly beatable, especially when you got to rely on them for maybe 5 innings here, maybe 6. Don't get Dennis Santana, Mr. That's the one that took a swing at the fans, right? and he pitched 3 days ago. So this is just straight up bullpen game unless there's just straight up bullpen game here. So yeah, we gotta go Brewers here. I guess it comes down to, do we want a piece of Chad Patrick or a piece of Pirates? I think the Pirates Substack, O'Neill, Cruz, Kutch, Reynolds, Horwitz, it's worth a little piece of. I'm not really gonna land on 4 or 5 mans with confidence. I saw a trade room the other day that IKF is on the radar of a couple teams, including the Yankees. As there's not many teams that are not in position to fight for a playoff spot, but the Pirates are one of them. So we'll go Brewers, Pirates. I think we put Chatty in the blender, but oh, I don't love it. All right, Ashcraft, we'll give him a 22. Patrick, we'll go 22. Patrick, are you mad? Let's go 9% on the walk. Chad Patrick. 6%. So, Ashcraft to the I'm gonna give him like an 8.5 out projection. There are some games where you dig up to 50 pitches. Honestly, 8.5. If he pitched 3 days ago, is still kind of high. And then for Patrick, I assume it's gonna be 15.5, 17.5. That helps the possibility. How's the Pirates against the fastball? They can't be good. Nah. You know whose column looked a lot like this was the Orioles the other day when I went to check. I think that was the game that they I think that was the reverse splits righty day where we got like 11 Ks or something out of old boy from the Rays. Patrick's in all your dummy lineups. I mean, I get, especially on Fanduel, I get it. Yeah, a little length here. I can't really paint. I mean, he has a home run problem to righties. All right, who's your home run hitter that's a righty on the Pirates? McCutchen, oddly enough, has a 177 ISO, and that's it. Against lefties, keeping the ball in the park, but that doesn't make a ton of sense because he got 34% line drive rate, 44% fly ball rate, 33% hard contact rate, but somehow only a quarter home run per night. Like, that feels lucky. Like, his home run to fly ball rate, it's got to be like 3%. Like, so there's got to be some progression or regression, I would say, in that category. There's a 2% home run to fly ball rate. That is probably the craziest number you'll ever see on any type of sample size. With 44% fly ball rate, 30+% hard contact rate. And what we say the barrel was 7%. Maybe. Higher percent of fastballs than Lance Lynn did at the end. It's impressive. What is going on with that? Like, that makes no sense. I guess some of it's been park. Look, he would have more homers allowed if all of his games were in his home park. He had up to 12 in the athletic stadium, whatever. A couple double-digit parks. I mean, it's not like he's got a elite outfield robbing homers, right? It just seems like a luck thing. So, oh man, I mean that Pirates maybe not the team to do it, but I gotta say, O'Neal Cruz, because this home run per 9 number, I don't think it means nothing for the bomb detector. How high is O'Neal Cruz? Not really that high, huh? 421, 17% probability. That's respectable. So O'Neal Cruz is easily the highest Pirate. And outside of the Cincy New York game, which we actually we gave it a little bit of a weather boost, Cruz does have the highest bomb detector rating. So even the algorithm that we built is like, what's going on here? And what's Cruz against those pitch types? Meh. 24.2% pull air. Yeah. There's definitely some room for regression. So I'll stick with how we ranked it. I think that's fair. Brewers, Pirates, Substack, and then Chad Patrick. Like, if there's any team where that luck can continue, right, it's probably the Pirates. I think I'm happy with that ranking. Let's move it on. Mariners and Twins. Brian, woo, taking on Bailey Over. What's the weather like in Minnesota? 80 degrees. Actually, it's not bad. I wish it was 80 freaking here, dude. It's 90 degrees right now, y'all. According to this little thing. Also, very high UV, minimized sun exposure. Ain't gotta tell me twice. 4.6 run total for the Mariners. 4.1 for the Twins. Twins lineup is out and confirmed. Byron Buxton, Matt Wallner, Brooks Lee, Trevor Larnach, Carlos Correa, Ty France, Cody Clemens, Harrison Bader, and Christian Vasquez is our confirmed Twins lineup. Brian Wu, 11% swinging strike rate, 22% overall K rate. That's pretty in line with what we saw last year in those two columns. The barrel rate has essentially doubled from last year. That's not what you want. Expected ERA, respectable. Another split guy, right? 25% K rate to righties, just under a 20% to lefties. And the XFIP jumps too, a 4.42 XFIP to lefties this year, 2.9 to righties this year. And we've seen a 3-year rolling sample size of higher XFIP, higher power allowed, higher fly ball allowed. Like, it is insane how opposite these lefty-righty splits are, right? Extreme ground ball pitcher to righties, extreme fly ball pitcher to lefties. And the Twins will come at you pretty half and half. And with this being a confirmed lineup, we know it's going to be 4 and 5. 4 lefties, 5 righties. So that's going to play right down the middle, so we can lean with these median numbers, the 22% K rate. But looking at that home run stuff, what lefties would we like to get behind? Matt Wallner, Cody Clemens. Sure. And then inversely, Bailey Ober, sub 18% K rate. Feel like he's a little unlucky with that, knowing he's got a 12% swing and strike rate. And it's not like he necessarily has a high walk rate that's wasting some of this. But overall, though, 4+ expected ERA, 4.62 Sierra. High power to both sides of the plate, and the Mariners are high strikeouts and typically high power, with the highest of power in the league right now being in the form of their catcher. You guys see that? What was that game the other day? I looked up, and Raleigh had 2 homers, Mitch Garver had 2 homers. It's like, man, these dudes got 4 homers out of a catcher spot. Meager run totals. Like I said, this game doesn't get like a weather boost. Only 80 degrees. A little bit of windy to right. That'll help your lefty pull hitters. But I think it's the usual suspects here. And if I had a cherry pick, obviously Cal Raleigh. I think Matt Wallner looks really fun. Pretty cheap on both sides for his small sample ISO OPS WRC plus. But you gotta get around that 32% K rate, which we can kind of do with Woo's sub 20% K rate. So with that said, Schwellenbach has a tough matchup, and we're looking at established twirlers, right? We know a sub 3 ERA Brian Wu, that dog just might hunt on a slate like this. And he's very live to go deep, 6+ innings. What the heck is 6.9? How do you go 6.9 innings? I guess that's their, instead of 0.1, they go 0.3. So wait, what's 6.4? What? Okay, all right. I was trying to defend the game log thing a minute ago, but all right, whatever, dude. I'm old. A nice amount of innings is what that is. Canzone and Solano went double dong up police yesterday. Yeah, Mariners are... Well, okay, I'll say the Mariners, yes, they're hot, like as far as results, but you guys got to remember, man, that freaking Wrigley series was 90 degrees, 20-mile-an-hour winds, like every game. So not taken away from their potential power, but boy, did they have some help, as Post Malone and Morgan Wallen would say. But it was fun as a baseball fan to see homers for once over the weekend. And that's dog days of summer are upon us. So not taken away from that. But yes, we can't discredit the fact that Wrigley was Wrigley this weekend. And even more so with 90+ degree temps. Ump had the dip in the 7th. Yeah, dude, that's rough. There was a younger gun would have been like, oh, that dude can't handle it. And now, yesterday, I wasn't even outside that much yesterday, but we did wrestling, right? And I came home, dude. My face was like, it looked like I had a heat rash, bro. And I took a cold shower for like 20 minutes. I come out, I still had this stuff right here, and yeah. So I don't think you can see me standing for 3 hours in the sun behind home plate. Those guys really don't get a break, and they're extra padded up, dude, and they're old. So well, some of them are old. They're not as old as they used to be, I guess, on average. So I got more respect for them these days than I used to. But how do we rank this out? Actually, let's go do a projection here. 22.3. I feel like Ober is pretty unlucky in this K rate. I want to give him some more, especially considering how much the Mariners strike out. What's this K prop? Five and a half? Oh my god. With juice on the under though? Oh, dude, man, I don't know. I'm about to go down a Bailey Ober rabbit hole here, but that swing and strike rate really doesn't live coincidentally with that actual K rate. And like I said, there's not like a walk rate that you see stealing those counts. 30% whiff on the changeup, 43% whiff on the sweeper, 33% on the curveball. This lineup's going to be pretty half and half. Yeah, that don't make no sense, Jake. Like, I think I'll push his K rate from 17.8. And it was 25 plus the last 2 seasons. So I'm not going to give him that. I feel like 21 is a real fair like manual adjustment. But I guess we'll get a strong. Actually, with them having a 25% aggregate K rate, if I put it at 18%, what's his out? 17.5 maybe. But his K prop was 5.5. So keep that in mind. 17.5, dude. On that alone, he might get. Without giving him a manual adjustment, it spits back 6 strikeouts, which is already pushing me on the over. If I change this number to 20, I mean, obviously it'll clear it 6.17, and if I give it the 22 that like I wanted, I guess I don't have to. I'm pushing it to 20, dude. That's just what I'm. 4 on the walk rate. That don't make no sense. And this is, I think, fire and ice, right? I think 7,600 for over with those metrics too. My God, bro. I think this feels like a pitcher first match spot. So we'll do that. I think it's pretty easy to pinpoint the pre-flop trouble spots, right? You look at Woo's lefty woes. That's Wallner, Larnack, Cody Clemens. And inversely with Ober, just a lot of power to everything. I think especially with Over, him, I don't know, he's not striking out lefties, but he's really not striking out anybody. But he should be. In a high fly ball, right? I don't know. We'll get Mariners as a stack. We'll probably also do a twin stack on the podium. This game's a crapshoot. I think that's how I'm gonna rank it out though. And because we got such a aggressive out projection from Vegas, and Ober's already got steam on the over, so both these guys probably sitting around 18 outs. So let's do that. And I'll go 3.5 on their QS column. That's how we roll it. Mets lineup came out. Want to take a look at that? I think that's a little bit more intriguing. Actually, we got a couple lineups. Let's look at those punched in. Reds lineup came out. TJ Friedl, Matt McClain, Ellie De La Cruz, Spencer Steer, Gavin Lux, Tyler Stevenson, Jose Trevino, former Yankee great, Jake Fraley, and Encarnacion Strand. All right, we have to fix that. Green light. That changed the total. No. Mets lineup. Frankie Lindor, Nimmo, Soto, Alonso, McNeil, Tyrone Taylor. Hey, I'm Tyrone. Luis Torrens, Brett Baty. A little bit different on the bottom half. It does increase their overall ISO to a little bit. And that's it. So we can resume. Face the Mariners handle last month, struck out 4 over 4, 97 pitches. I wonder what that's got to be studied. I wonder what that's about. Actually, before we start, 2 more lineups drop. I can get those in. It was the D-backs and the White Sox game is fully out. D-backs. Yep, no Corbin Carroll. Perdomo, Marte, Pavin Smith, Naylor, Suarez, Gurriel, Randall Grichuk, Alec Thomas, Jose Herrera. As projected. You'd love to see that. White Sox, Mydroth, Slater, Vargas, Cuero, Roberts, Sosa batting 7th. No Benintendi. So you take a lefty who, ironically, I think the lefty had the highest freaking ISO against lefties, even though it's Andrew Benintendi. And that makes us one lefty in the White Sox lineup, but but only Michael A. Taylor with any bit of ISO, but it comes with a 40% K rate. So this is really gonna beef up at least the matchup advantage for Erod. And you can make a case that you put Erod over the D-backs here, with the D-backs being without Corbin Carroll, and this looking so rough. With that said, not a ton of astronomical K rates in the White Sox lineup, so it's not like free Ks. But man, this team just it's a team. It's a team. Cubs and the Cardinals. Next up, Cubs with a 4.7 run total. Cardinals 4.6. We got Ben Brown versus Matthew Liberatore. Ben Brown, a 26.3% K rate on the season, 4.39 on the expected ERA, 10+% barrel rate. That's consistent with last year. His ERA is higher than his expected ERA, but his expected ERA is still 4.39. The 1.48 WHIP is a product of a high average allowed, especially to lefties. And lefties are hitting him for good average, hitting him for power, but he's also striking him out at 30% clip. So, boy, has this been a weird day for pitching stats or what? 30% K rate is maybe the reason this is being held down to a 3.53 xFIP, and if you can hit them, you got a good chance. But can you hit them? Cardinals are a team that probably come out half and half with the lineup that doesn't strike out and a lineup that does strike out. And it's projected we've got 4 guys with a 25+% aggregate K rate against righties since the beginning of last year, and then a lot of 18 and under. Jesus, what? No, that sounds bad. Like an aggregate 16% K rate in the second and the other half of the lineup. So, man, this is a wide range of outcomes. You also get the park bump for pitching, but it is 90 degrees with some winds blowing out to the left. So, hotter the better for the bats. Liberatore, 20% K rate for him, 1.16 on the whip, 3.6 expected ERA, 3.74 Sierra. Better numbers than his actual ERA. And he's also got a little bit of a split thing going on a 3-year basis where he looks better against lefties, naturally, lefty, with righties hitting him a little bit more. So, Cubs, we talked about, just like the Mariners, coming off a crazy series in Wrigley where it was hot, it was windy. It's still hot in St. Louis, and it's a little windy, not quite 20 miles an hour, but the park dimensions and maybe the fact that it's not the worst pitching might neutralize it a little bit more. But Liberatore still got to get some outs here. And I know his lefty splits are pretty pristine. The extreme ground ball rates, that might go a long way towards neutralizing Kyle Tucker and PCA. But Seiya Suzuki has been a lefty masher. Ian Happ, you can turn him around. Dansby Swanson has a really impressive split line. I don't know. This is probably way more impressive than I would have guessed 5 minutes ago if you would have told me to take a shot. 284 average, 200 plus ISO, 133 WRC plus since the beginning of last year against lefties. So there's certainly a stretch of righties here that Liberatore's got to earn. Pretty split on the run total. I think this is almost a pure 4 corners, and I don't really have a tip on the scale for one of the 4. So I really don't know how to portray that in this ranking. So I guess we just gotta make a choice here. So I guess we'll go Cubs. Cubs. We'll go offense first, and then I don't know, something like this. But understand, like this could go 4 ways. Let's put a projection here: 26% for Ben Brown on the K rate, 20.1 for Liberatore. Walk rate 7%. Liberatore 5%. What we got on outs? 17.5, 16.5. So they're giving Liberatore a good shot at 6. I'm gonna give him 2.5 towards the QS point. Just giving the Cubs a little respect. Going from there. Fastball, curveball, that is it. Weird pitching slate for results, numbers, pitch mixes. Kind of fun. What up, Jimmy? You're shout out to the 40 plus of y'all hanging out on a Monday. You guys don't mind. Hit that thumbs up, man. Give me a little something in the thumbs up column today, would you? I got 2 more games. Red Sox and the Angels. Red Sox 4.7 run total. Angels 4.5. We got Walker Buehler taking on Jack Kachenowitz out there in LA. Who would have thought Los Angeles would be the coldest game on the slate? Or the 2 California games, or the sub 70 temp games. That's funny. Walker Buehler, 20% K rate. A lot of really ugly, very red numbers in the power department, the average to lefties department, which is not going to be a big problem against the Angels. The 211 average to righties feels a little bit like it's just a glaring green cell, but a 376 xFIP, 46+% ground ball rate since the beginning of last year against righties, over 43% aggregate to both sides of the plate. Facing an Angels team that can give you some strikeouts, but also contains a lot of power, like a poor man's Mariners. Inversely, Kachenowitz, 17.2% carry, 1.5 on the whip. That's also being bolstered by a high average to lefties and a high walk rate to both sides of the plate, despite a high ground ball rate himself. A lot of power to lefties so far. So that's a great spot. This entire row right here, outside of this ground ball rate, this is really good news for Jarren Duran, especially Roman Anthony, and maybe Marcelo Meyer. And we know the Angels bullpen amongst the worst in baseball. So maybe a 4-corner spot as well. But I really don't want to have to play Kachenowitz. So I'll leave the 5 ERA for the field maybe. And if I mention, some guys like Bailey Ober with his swing and strike rate and K rate, so like life isn't fair, right? Walker Buehler, 2 years in a row, 8% swing and strike rate, but he has a 20% K rate. And then we go up to Bailey Ober, 12.1 swing and strike rate. He's a 18% K rate. Offense first for me. Red Sox. But like I said, unlike the other, this is what, 68 degrees? It's a little cooler out there in Anaheim. But pre-flop, I gotta like the spot for the bats before I like the spot for the pitchers. The Red Sox lineup without Devers and Bregman are certainly more inviting to take stabs at. And there's a lot more strikeouts in this lineup day to day. Abraham Toro He's the only guy with a sub 20% K rate in that lineup. There's a negative or a below average WRC plus though. So like, there's a world where I'll probably take some weird pitches against this Red Sox team. Is it gonna be Jack Kachinowicz? Ooh, I don't know. His ground ball rate does play. But man, there's just like no K rate that I really want to get behind. Buehler, maybe. There's something to be said about, you know, having a veteran mindset for a guy that doesn't have great stuff these days, right? If that makes sense. There's one thing to be a rookie with no stuff. At least sometimes you can get veterans that kind of understand how to pitch, and maybe that's what's helping him on that 20% K rate. But my God, this home run per 9 column is crazy. So I do think I would introduce some Buehler, but it's not fun. What do we got for out? 16.5, 16.5. That's pretty fair. Let's go 20%. And then Kachinowicz, we said 18. Walk rate. A lot of righties here. 3 lefties. We'll still meet in the middle. 8%. For Jack. Diet Coke. That's how we run that one out. What's up, Don? Is Woo too high of a price at 9,600? I honestly, this is kind of like how I approach every slate, but I really don't care about pricing in baseball, especially for pitching. But especially on slates where the pitching is unsafe. So value is extra subjective on a slate like this. When it feels like every pitcher sucks, you kind of lean on the guys who are less likely to suck. And I think Brian Wu, Bailey Over, Spencer Strickland, like those are the guys that people are probably going to gravitate towards. So in my mind, at 9,600 for Brian Wu, I'm not thinking, can I get 25 points? Can I get 30 points? I'm thinking, is he going to be a top 2 scorer? How often? Even if it is 20 points, 22, something like that. Like normally that doesn't mean anything, but you make up the difference with the bats. So in my mind, no, I don't really care about the price. And in a second, we'll have pitcher projections. And I'm going to assume that Brian Wu is going to be up there. So my short answer is no. But my long answer is I don't care about the price when pitching really sucks. Just give me a shot at 20 plus and I'll take it from there. Main event tonight. Before we do that, take a pause for the cause. You guys want to hang out in the Discord, get access to the spreadsheet we've been maintaining throughout the duration of the stream. Even though I think last week I didn't do a single stream on this channel, I've upkept. We do the spreadsheet every day, and a lot of people, silent assassins back there, use this as part of their daily repertoire of research and grinding slates out. So if you guys want access to this, despite me streaming or not, it is behind the paywall at MLBgrind.com. Click premium memberships. $100 locks you in for the rest of the year. And guys, there's nothing left. Basketball's done. Unless you're grinding WNBA, which you might be. It's just baseball for 2 months until maybe college football comes back. So if you're a DGen, come DGen, and I'll try and hold your hand. And the Discord's not super active. It's a lot of people that just been grinding for years. They know what they're doing. But if you're new and you want to grind, I promise you can ask questions all day in that Discord, and I'll do my best to answer and kind of guide you as far as what to look for and what the tools are saying. So MLBgrind.com, get yourself a shot or get yourself a subscription, and we'd love to have you. Main event tonight, Red Sox and the Angels. Or no, Nationals and the Padres. Nationals run total 3.8. Padres 4.9. We got Mitchell Parker taking on Stephen Kolek. Cumulatively, this looks like the lowest overall game total, the lowest overall temperature, and what's probably the highest overall pitcher park, with maybe Busch Stadium giving them a run for their money. But then you add the fact that Busch Stadium is 90 degrees and has the Cubs offense in it. So this might be a decent pre-flop boost for pitchers. With that said, Mitchell Parker, 17% K rate, 10% swinging strike rate, 5 on the expected ERA, a lot of power to righties, and decent chunk of half and half righties on the Padres. And we know Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, two guys that can really make you pay. And this is something we've been tracking. We've been saying at the beginning of the season as well. Even it doesn't make a ton of sense. This team kind of sucks against lefties, and they've been consistently sucking. Only Manny Machado has a 200 plus ISO against lefties, and only 2 players in this projected have a positive or above average WRC plus. Like even Fernando Tatis, since the beginning of last year, numbers don't really look that good in that split. So let's see if we shorten the memory to just this season. Does it get any better? It doesn't. 183 average to the lefties, 1 homer, 20 Ks, and 71 at bats, 4 stolen bases. So, is that enough suck to invest in a 5 expected ERA at Petco Park? I don't want to have to do it, but it's something to play with in the back of your mind. Maybe if you're playing for playing the late slate or something like that. Just thinking out loud. Inversely, Stephen Kolek, pretty similar overall stats as well. Sub 17% overall K rate, 4.5 expected ERA, a lot of power to lefties. And the Nationals come out pretty lefty heavy, which is Brady House and Jacob Young as projected righties in this lineup. You can really dig into revenge game CJ Abrams, 250 plus ISO for James Wood, Luis Garcia Jr., Nate Lowe, a lot of respectable ISOs, a lot of respectable WRC pluses, but you're playing against lesser environmental advantages or disadvantages, if you want to put it that way, versus rest of the slate. So I think it's a hard game to grade out, and I think a lot of other offenses are going to appear better. I do kind of like the thought of this Nationals team, just environment be darned. Like looking at Kolek's splits, high ground ball rate could troll us here a little bit, but the high walk rate against a Nats team that I think let's see, Nats are pretty aggressive on the bases, yeah. Eighth in stolen bases, so certainly can steal. They're pretty fun. It's just a fun team. League average in homers, actually below league average in WRC plus this season. So the park might win out. I'm not gonna rank anything here, dude. I don't want to be held accountable for this. Pitchers don't look good, and the offenses have looked pretty rough in the splits. I'll lean Nationals if I have to. And this elevated walk rate could play into a above league average stolen base aggressiveness. So I'm not going to rank it out, but we are going to grade out the pitcher projection here. We're going to go 17% on Parker. Kolek, 17% as well. Walk rates, 9.5. Kolek, so 8. What kind of outs we working with? 17.5, 16.5. there. All right. RIP NBA. I know it's a weird market, but do you have pitch count projections? Shouldn't Chad throw 150 today with Milwaukee bullpen situation? I don't have pitch count projections, no. I just go off of out projections. What are you saying? Because of Milwaukee's bullpen situation? Yeah, they went crazy. So I would say, one, it's not impossible for guys to pitch 2 days in a row. I would not expect Koenig and probably Megill to pitch today. But the other thing is, usually they just move guys down and move guys up. So we can see if they made any roster transactions, and I don't see anything today. But yes, and if Patrick did get beat up early, you probably have to wear it. But we'd almost certainly have to see Aaron Ashby in this game. Probably Zastrinsky, who only threw 7 pitches yesterday. And what did we give him? 18 on the outs? 17 and a half? So you need them to close 3 innings, 2 if you got a lead. And it's the Pirates, so they might get lucky there. $91 plus. I don't think that's crazy. There's you know what? I don't feel like I've seen pitch count projections on PrizePicks. Wasn't that a market they used to offer? He's definitely able to throw 91 plus, and that's about what you would expect. I only threw 74 last game, but 94, 98, 94. I would say yes for sure. You want him to throw close to 100 pitches. Let's go sort out our stack and pitcher projections. So Brian Wu comes in at the top of the board on DraftKings. Oh, dude, these projections are so soft. Like, I got nobody at 20. This is actually stupid. I feel like I've done something wrong. Wow. But no surprise here. Wu, Schwellenbach, Ober, and Patrick. Those are guys coming in 1 through 4. Ober's getting a little bit more of the Fanduel love for the quality start implication. And then main stack rating. Set that. Yankees, Cubs, D-backs, Cincy, Seattle coming in top 4. So that's how we do that. Let's go check out the bomb detector. Also, I forgot to bring in today's odds for, I don't know what I just clicked. There it is. Chat, you guys got anything? Questions, comments, concerns, hot takes? Throw them at me. No game selected. What did I do? And if you guys are subbed out, we have, looks like we have everything we need. And now we're just waiting on lineups to keep our stuff tight. Bomb detector, not giving us any real value, guys. The first value name it gives us is Jake Fraley. That's more of a park weather boost, but I don't think I would get behind that. I'm looking at chat. No, that's me. It's also a lot of Jake. Jake's also in our premium Discord. He helps me out. He really gets surgical on pitch mixes. So I like when Jake's in chat, tossing in that stuff. Anything else in the bond detector that looks funky? Not really. This slate's gonna be a dog fight, dude. It's gonna be a dog fight. I don't think I've ever, or I don't want to say ever, but man, just no real high projection on pitchers. We've gone through each spot. All these guys have, I don't say Achilles heel, rest in peace Tyrese Halliburton, but all these guys have have blemishes in their splits versus their matchup. A lot of guys dealing with hotness. This is gonna be a dog fight when it comes to getting pitching right tonight. And when a slate has unlimited supply of rough spots for pitching, it makes every offense live. So might be a fun prop day for guys who like offenses. How could I? That's my bad. I like Tyrese Halliburton, man. That's just a shame. And the Terry show, is Terry live? Yeah, you guys go check out Terry if he's live. I'm glad I was able to start early today. Dude, wait, Terry's got 50 and I got almost 50. You're telling me 100 plus? Yeah. All right, I'll spam the chat with Terry's link. You guys would go check him out. Yeah, I don't know what happened with Wood's projection there. I don't know. Check out Terry. He's chopping it up. Terry goes way more into the hitters than I do. I pretty much focus on pitching and the pitching splits and then kind of go from there. So if you guys are looking for the other side of the coin, Terry's a good complement to this stream. So appreciate you guys hanging out. Got anything else for me? Twitter.com/Gundacker. I'll be around in the Discord all day. Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm pretty well not as busy as I am the rest of the week. And I get really busy. Appreciate y'all, man. You guys have a good one. Love you guys. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.
A lot of movement today. John Single.